It's a very good morning again, the 29th of November in this year 2021. Welcome again to Good Morning Uganda Extra. My name is Uganda Airlines, and of course picking it up from where I and Ruben Impima just left it with Ruben and sports updates this morning. Well, we thank you so much that you are with us here. Now in our GMU Extra slot today, we talk about issues, of course, that have been trending over the weekend. And of course, these are issues that concern Uganda's international airport at Entebbe, and of course the vending that we also just saw with our new Airbuses for the Uganda Airlines, and of course quite a number of things. The banter is on, and of course that's why it is. Now joining me in studio this morning is Mr. Kenneth Otim, and he's the Principal Public Affairs Officer at the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. You're welcome, Mr. Otim.
Thank you, Mr. Jagenda. Kenneth Otim is my name, and I work as a Principal Public Affairs Officer with the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Good morning, our viewers.
Thank you. Yesterday was a Sunday, and of course, our games. Liverpool was playing, Manchester played, Chelsea played, Manchester United played. Did you support any football?
I'm a Manchester fan.
You're a Manchester fan, yeah, so you had a good evening.
And when I got a point from Chelsea, I was very happy.
To you, it was the best.
Yeah.
Well, that's very important. Well, thank you so much. Welcome. Here is, of course, where we are today, and you're coming from Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Yeah. And one of the things, of course, that is trending, and that we're talking about, is the expansion of the airport, and of course, it's takeover. But we'll talk about the expansion to start with.
Yes.
How far is this expansion project, and where are we, and what have we achieved so far?
Thank you, Mr. Jagenda. It's very important that we normally use this opportunity at a national broadcaster to inform the public of what we are doing at Entebbe International Airport. So far, Entebbe International Airport, in its upgrade and expansion project, we are at a percentage of 80%. And the upgrade and expansion, we are in the first phase. There is also the second phase. Okay. So the first phase, government got a loan from the Exim Bank, which is $200 million US. And this loan is right now doing what we call the strengthening of our runways. We have two runways, 1230 and 1735. So we have strengthened the runway, put a new layer of bitumen, colored our runway, and very soon lighting the runway. Two is the taxiways. So the taxiways, after the plane lands, of course, it has to tax to where it parks. So we have equally...
The taxing is now when it moves like a bus,
yes.
When it moves like a car.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you call the taxing.
Yes, that is taxing. You leave the runway for another aircraft to use it, then you tax to where you're coming to park. So we have also strengthened those taxiways.
How many do you have?
We have so many.
Those are so many.
Alpha, Delta, so many.
Okay, those are many.
Yes. So we have also put a new layer of bitumen on those taxiways until we reach the apron. Now, the aprons, we have got apron 1, we have got apron 2, apron 4, and yet to operationalize apron 5.
So what are aprons in this case?
Now, apron is where the marshaller parks the plane.
Okay.
So like now when
are they different from hangars?
Yeah, they are different from hangars because like a hangar sometimes where they service an aircraft plane from. Yeah. So right now the apron number 1, which is that one that normally when you're flying out at Entebbe International Airport, assuming you have gone to Dubai, the one that we are using for the Entebbe International Airport, that is apron number 1. Apron number 2 is where the president boards from. Apron number 4 is that one that we have given to the UN. And apron number 5 is, it will be at the new cargo complex. Now, I've not talked about apron number 3 because that one is being used by the military aviation. Yes, so the aprons that we have so far worked on is 1, 2, 4, and 5.
4 is UN.
4 is UN.
And 5?
5 is going to be at the new cargo complex.
Okay.
Yes. Now, lastly is the cargo complex itself, which is almost done, and by January we are shifting from the old cargo area to the new cargo complex. So that is so far the works that have been done at Entebbe International Airport regarding the loan.
And that's what explains the $200 million loan that we got from Exim Bank.
Yes, sir.
And how long is this loan?
This loan is going to be for 20 years.
20 years. And we got the loan in 2015?
2015.
Okay.
And we are given a grace period of 7 years.
Okay.
So within those 7 years, government will be paying interest that accrue from the principal. So those 7 years, the grace period ends 2022. Now, after 2022, government starts paying the principal itself for a period of 20 years. Yes.
Okay. So let's jump into the issues now. I am happy that you've actually educated me on some of these things that I now know about. Let's talk about the takeover itself, because I think this is what most Ugandans who do not know what is actually happening at the airport do not know maybe even what the airport looks like, because I think here in Uganda you can talk about anything, even those who have not been at the airport, to know actually what the airport looks like. But of course the discussion's on that China has taken over our airport. Why have we given our airport to China?
You see, you and I, we are media personalities, and if I'm writing my news story, I need to give it a good masthead so that I attract readers. But the fact of the matter is that we have not given out the airport to China. And we should disregard such stories in the social media. Entebbe International Airport is still owned by government 100%, and we are Uganda Civil Aviation Authority is in charge of operationalizing the airport. So it's not true that this airport has been given over to the Chinese.
Where did the rumor start from?
Pardon?
Where did the rumor start from? Where did the rumor emanate?
I think the rumor started from the loan agreement that was signed. Now, in that loan agreement, there were provisions. For example, Exim Bank wanted the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority to forward their master and strategic plan, also the budgets of the authority, and also the Exim Bank to have a say in the escrow account of the authority. So in 2019, there was a renegotiation of some of those clauses. For example, to the submission of the budget, the master plan, and also the escrow account. So the Exim Bank was like, no, for us what we wanted to just have in operation with you is to ensure that you are in a financial position and government is able to pay back the loan in the agreed period of time. So
did Exim Bank look at our, you call them plans?
Yes.
The expansion plans?
Yes.
Did Exim Bank give us money without looking at those before?
Actually, they looked at those plans and they were convinced. And government looked at also the loan terms of Exim Bank at an interest of 2% as the best.
They were favorable.
They were favorable compared to others that were looking at 4% and 6%. So it was a very good deal to take a loan at 2%. Yes.
Okay. We are at 75–80% of 80%
of the first phase.
Of the first phase.
Yes.
And this is what the $200 million
US million dollars is
doing.
Yeah,
okay. Do we have? Is it Exim Bank that is going to do the second phase, or that will be a different negotiation?
That will be a different negotiation.
Okay.
Any other person can come.
So what's the second phase now?
Now the second phase will be the extension of the airport terminal. Remember, this airport when it was constructed in 1974–75, its capacity was 2,500 passengers passing through the airport. Now, by 2019, before we had the lockdown, our number of passengers that passed through Entebbe International Airport that year were 1.98 million passengers. So it means that the passengers have outgrown the facilities at Entebbe International Airport. Therefore, the need to expand the terminal building.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain to the people to actually understand what a terminal is, because for those who have gone to the Entebbe airport lately, they see a new building somewhere. Where I think it used to be a parking lot or something. There is a new building just as you're arriving. Let the people understand these things. Now, what is this terminal that you're talking about that needs to be done in the second phase?
When you come at Entebbe International Airport, what you see, we call it where you see the iron sheet hoarding. We call it a modification building. It's part of the old building.
Okay, it's a modification.
It's a modification. And before this building was supposed to have 2 baskets, that one of departure and that one of arrival. So it was merged together. The ground floor for arrival, the first floor for departure. So if it's completed, passengers will be using the ramp, that road you see, to arrive at the airport. The car drops you or they drop you off. You wheel your luggage into the building, and then you connect to the old building. So equally, when you have arrived, you come through the old building and you're out of this modification building. However, when the extension of that terminal in the phase 2 is done, and we put what we call a facade, it will look like it's one building. And it will give us a very beautiful view of the terminal building. So the modification, the old building, and the 20 square meters of the extension of the terminal, which will be the new terminal added on to the old one, with the facade, it will look like it's one building. And therefore, we shall have now facilities to manage the growing number of passengers.
Okay, very important. Now, the outstanding features for the expansion, or what you're working on, are they these that you just told me about? The outstanding features of, because for people possibly who have not been to Entebbe Airport, what is this thing that they come and look to and look through? Or for those who have actually been transiting through the airport, the things very outstanding that they can actually look and say, okay, yes, there is something that has been happening here, and maybe I've not gone through the airport for so many months or so many years, but I now see a new airport.
Yeah, you see, I'll start from the land side. Before you reach the old search park, you have seen a new search park. Now, that search park is very soon going to be operationalized once we get the scanning equipment. Because it has got 4 lanes, meaning that the traffic, if you come early in the morning at the airport, or maybe let me just say at peak time, you see there's a lot of traffic which goes past even Potea Hotel, just because we have 2 lanes with the current search park. But with the new search park, it has got 4 lanes, meaning that it will speed the process of security.
And scans.
Yes, so that is one. 2, when you enter the airport itself, things like we had a problem with inadequate parking for the public. Now we have got new parking that we have created. First of all, to remove all staff and they park there, and then the old current parking, we give it to the traveling passengers. Then the modification building. When the members of parliament visited us, you know, when they received reports about Civil Aviation Authority, with what they saw at the airport, they were really very happy that we had reached that stage of beautifying the airport. When you enter the airport, we have opened the lounges. We used to have closed lounges, but we have opened the lounges to try and add more space so that we can accommodate the numbers as we plan to extend on that terminal. So far, we are moving on the right track. And when you look at the air side, the apron, the taxiways, it is looking good.
Okay.
Yes.
Without politicizing anything, without being political also, are you guaranteeing us that we still have an airport that belongs to Uganda and to the government of Uganda and to the people of Uganda, or we only just being decent to not let the people know what is indeed happening?
Yeah. You know, people need to know that government has never defaulted meeting the loan obligation of the Exim Bank. It has never defaulted. Secondly, when this loan was being picked up, there's what we call a buffer account, where UCAA put $4 million. In case, and I'm saying in case government defaulted, the bank can pick money from this buffer account. But also looking at our operational account, we have now started to regain our financial stability from the COVID. Because in October this year, we had 100,000 passengers passing through Entebbe International Airport. That is arrivals and departures. And I believe as we come to the Christmas season, the numbers will go high. So our aeronautical and non-aeronautical revenues are in a strong position that we shall be able to pay this loan going forward.
Okay, so there's nothing to worry about. There's no need for...
There's nothing to worry about.
Okay, how have the operations been during the COVID period here? Because we know that even when during the first lockdown, we now talk about the period of March 2020 up some time around maybe July, August, where we were not allowing in any passengers, even when we had cargo still coming in and of course going out. Many of your staff actually stayed, I think, on job. The airport stayed operational. Things that happened, and we just want to know how your operations have been, especially during the COVID period when you didn't have customers or passengers coming in through, and now that you also have passengers. What have you improved with that?
Yes, when we were in the pandemic, of course, the airport was closed. That is the first lockdown. The airport was closed, and we remained with cargo. So with the cargo operations, though it reduced, but it never reduced like the passenger numbers. So cargo supported us in that area. Also we had repatriations, but that was not so much. Operation-wise, we scaled down our staff. So we are working 30%, those that were coming to work. The rest of the staff we are working from home. We gave them bundles to work from home, and once in a while they would come to the offices either to submit reports, and also those that were deemed necessary to be on job, like in finance, those of course were fully working. The numbers of passengers really were down, because before we went for the lockdown, we would talk about 5,000 passengers, more than 5,000 passengers in a month. But during the lockdown, numbers we could have, for example, between 50,000 to 70,000 passengers in a month. And it was really low because our greatest source of revenue is from a ticket sold to a passenger. And now if the numbers are low, we are also having a bit of a financial constraint. However, with the president promising to open up the economy in January, and already from what we are seeing, we see that there is a very good prospect of passenger numbers rising again, and therefore we are planning for the rise in passenger numbers. Then also during this lockdown, we have had 2 airlines joining the industry. We never lost an airline, but instead we added 2 more airlines, and that is Airlink from Entebbe to Joburg, South Africa, and also Air Arabia, which is a low-cost carrier from Entebbe to Dubai. So those 2 have really given us hope that Entebbe International Airport will be aiming higher, and even if we receive a carrier from China, which is in the pipeline, then it will be very good for the airport. Okay.
Hold it here, Mr. Otim. We're going to go for a break.
Yes, please.
And when we return, we'll return from that break, I'll request my producer to get that video of Ensenene vendor on Uganda Airlines. Yes. And we get to that particular issue there, because I also now need to take you to the other issues of we need to see where CA is and Uganda Airlines in what we saw, what that means to us globally, internationally, and in the business of aviation. We'll take a break and we'll come back and start with the Ensenene vending. Let's come back shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend surfaces. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
The thing goes clink, clink, clink. Woo.
Grab an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi Max today and drink to your bold lifestyle. Enjoy maximum taste with no sugar. Now available at a shop near you. Maximum taste, no sugar.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Well, thank you so much, and a good morning once again. Let's have this Ensenene video, and of course it will inform our next discussion with Mr. Tim. I want you to look at that, Mr. Tim. Of course, you've seen it. It's trending on social media, or it's trended on social media. Now, just look at that. It just reminds me of the businesses that we do in these coaches that take us up country. When you know the buses that take us to up country. Even in certain buses that go across border, you don't see some of these things actually happening. You don't see these actually happening in buses that cross and go to maybe Tanzania, go to Rwanda, go to Kenya, go elsewhere. So look at that. Just reminds me of a time when you are seated in one bus going to Soroti, you're going to Kasese, you're going to Mbarara, Moroto, Tororo. That is really what happens. And now that's a Ugandan culture. Now, amazingly, there are people who are saying this man saw an opportunity and he came to step in. It was a gap, as if it was a crisis of sorts. But just look at that. Now, the young man says his was comedy. He wanted to do, I think, a TikTok video or something like that. I even don't know what TikTok is. He wanted to do a TikTok video, then of course circulate it to friends and get viewership, get following and stuff like that, at the expense of that. Now, the most pertinent questions that keep coming out here are that, how in the first place does somebody cross, you come and go through the gate, come through the counters, go and get actually there. When you're not a staff of Uganda Airlines, you're not a staff of Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, you're not a staff of AVSEC, you are a jagenda. By the time you get onto the ramp and get into the plane. Then you've gone through all these security checks. How did somebody walk with that chivera the way it looks like? Because you'd say the man had some little senene in his carry-on bag.
Yes.
But you're just imagining, how did that big cover across and got its way onto our Airbus? People, the man is vending and it's getting money. Mutwalo, and you know, and then people are buying. Who do we blame in the first place?
Let me start in a way of an inverted pyramid. First of all, when you're on board, the crew takes charge.
Exactly.
The crew settles in the passenger and give the rules on board. Now, it was unfortunate that he had all that time of selling his insenene, and the crew never stopped such an act.
And you can't say people got there when there was no crew on board, because they actually get on board before any other person comes on.
The crew gets on board before any other person comes on.
Where are you? We even don't get in at the same time.
Yes, and they usher you either to your seat even. Yes. So when you come to Entebbe International Airport, there's something that I want to tell Ugandans. The Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries, there's what we call phytosanitary certification. Mr. Jagenda, if you want to take guineas to UK, simsim to UK, when they are raw, you might be told to leave them at the airport at Heathrow. If at all they have not been certified by the MAIF here in Uganda. That is one thing. However, there is no rule in aviation that stops you from carrying your own senene, provided the destination does not stop you taking senene there.
It's not a forbidden good.
It's not a forbidden good. We have annexes. Annex 18 talks about dangerous good. And insenene is not a dangerous good. However, the conduct of a passenger on board and the laxity by the crew is what caused all that. You come in at Entebbe International Airport and you go through our port health to check for your COVID, negative PCR. You enter the check-in hall. You present your luggage through our scanners, both hand and the check-in luggage. You go to the verification desk by the ground handler to check whether you have the visa, the ticket to go where you're going. Then you end up with the check-in counters. Now, most of the people traveling, like if you had your guineas, you would put your guineas in the check-in luggage.
Exactly.
Even your senene in the check-in luggage. So they weigh it, then they put it on the belt, and it takes it down there.
Then it goes into luggage.
Yeah, then it goes into luggage.
You never see it until you get there.
Now, this young man, Mubiru, for him, had a hand luggage with his kavera of unsenene.
In the hand luggage?
Yes. Now, the excitement on being on an Airbus to Dubai, Mubiru was like, why can't I sell in senene? Because friends in Dubai had told him to bring for them senene.
So he was taking the senene to Dubai?
So he was taking senene to Dubai. However, he says, Banai, who could also wish to eat in senene as we fly? So his transaction started on board, which was a very wrong thing to be done on a national airline like that and in the aviation. Yes, please.
We have walked to the airport, and when you talk about the check-in counters, normally at the check-in counters, they do not even allow us to cross with a bottle of water.
Yes.
It's the normal Ugandan mineral water that we take here every day. But when you want to cross with that, they've stopped us from carrying mineral water, they've stopped us from carrying perfumes, they've stopped us from carrying all the things. We actually dump them there. Many people go. Vaseline, you know, lotion, and somebody says, this is my lotion, and you know, they tell them, you will not cross with this. And we're just thinking, if I cannot cross with a bottle of water, and it's just water, how did somebody carry in his carry-on bag ensenene, and maybe the scanners didn't actually detect and tell that this is ensenene. Why are you taking ensenene? Because many of us have traveled out of this country, and we've carried these things. We've carried, you know, even ensenene. And like you said, we put it in that check-in bag.
Yes.
Then you only find it at destination, and even at destination, as stopped at I think it was Auckland International Airport in New Zealand, when I had vinyebwa in my carry-on bag, and they were very inquisitive. They wanted to see what this was. I actually opened and had to eat vinyebwa for them to see that actually, because this vinyebwa is not with them and they did not know. So how, it just amazes that this person, before even condemn or indict the crew on board, how did Mr. Mubiru cross with ensenene to the Airbus?
You see, when you're trying to go through our final checks, for example, if you had more than perfumes of more meals, more than 300, would tell you, please, this one you cannot move with it because the perfume is inflammable. Now, water, if you're talking about water you will be given on board. Now, sometimes I've seen this, especially with the low-cost carriers like Fly Dubai. People, they know that they're not going to be given something to eat on board, and you see somebody carrying a chapati, something to eat on board.
Because there'll be nothing to eat on board.
Yes, because there will be nothing to eat on board. So even Mubiru with his hand luggage, actually the way he had packaged it, okay, hand luggage, because of course it passed through our screens, and it would have already been done at the check-in counters, because look at the chivera, the volume of ensenene. I think it was quite big, although he had put it in his bag. You see the black bag there? He had put it, that's a bag that you put on your back and you carry. Yeah? So something's like a hand luggage. It's very unfortunate that that happened.
Where does this now put our Uganda Civil Aviation Authority in as far as ICAO standards are concerned?
Actually, this scenario has led us as a regulator and the landlord at Entebbe International Airport to open up an investigation. It's a serious concern. So we have opened up an investigation, first of all, with the security screening, the ground handler, and the crew itself. So that we learn from the experience, and we never have this again in the history of our industry here in Uganda. So if people are found with something, I would say that they lacked to have the rules put into procedure, then I think some punitive measures will have to be done, will have to be taken on all those that were involved.
Did you read Uganda Airlines statements?
Yes, I saw the press release.
You saw the press release?
Yes.
One of the things they talk about there is one of the lessons they're learning is they've discovered that ensenene is actually good to be on their menu, which I think is okay. But I think they knew this even before Mr. Mubiru came with ensenene. And I read a tweet by Minister Frank Tumwebaze, Minister for Agriculture, and he was actually debunking this theory of we now need to see that this thing comes on. Now that's a statement for the press release that was released by the management of Uganda Airlines. And Honorable Frank Tumwebaze tweeted to debunk this and saying, okay, if ensenene today is, we think it's this hot thing that should be on our menu. What about if somebody comes with a shabwe? What about if somebody comes with a mukeke? I come from a land where there is a mukeke. How about if somebody comes with another thing? How about if somebody says, no, you know, atapa is a very hot thing in here. It's a good thing in here. And then we also say it should be atapa. Because I think Uganda Airlines and maybe UCAM can actually look at these things and say, on our Ugandan planes on board on Uganda Airlines, these are our issues, or these are our things. This is what we'll have, which promotes our culture, which promotes who we are, which promotes tourism in this country and all the things. What lessons have you as the regulator learned from this Mubiru experience, which I think is very regrettable to us as a country?
I think, to me, as a person working with the regulator, one, we do not like refused selling, giving people Nsenene on board. But it should be done by the airline. Because there is meal time on the flight.
Exactly.
So if I'm the crew, I will ask you, would you want to test our local delicacy called Nsenene? If you say yes, then I will give you Nsenene. Or even a Shabwe, or even a Kalo. But it should be the crew to do that, to transact that giving of food to passengers. Not a one Mubiru with this Nsenene to start giving or selling Nsenene on board. Otherwise, there will be, we would have broken the rules on board. First of all, when you sit, you should sit and you fasten your belt until the plane takes off. Now for you, you're vending. And even you see the crew trying to see that the lockers are fastened when the plane, before the plane takes off. So the lesson we are seeing here is that we need, first of all, to ensure that our staff at the airport are updated with some of the rules that apply on land side, on air side, and on board. You see? So that such a thing cannot happen. Actually, we have made history for such a thing to happen on board.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we are going to make more awareness of what are the rules for somebody either to carry so and so products. Because now, in the UK, there is another video that you saw in the UK. Somebody reached there in the UK, and the white lady at the airport, he thought, was like, what
exactly.
is this?
What is this?
Says, this is Nsenene.
It's an old video. It is just resurfacing.
Yes.
It's an old video.
Yes.
I saw that way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, you see that this person gets free through. I'm seeing that video again.
Yes.
And the lady say, please, let's come, looking at it.
Yes.
Put it here, let's look at it and see. It's terrible.
And also, you see, Maif has been very active at the cargo center. That is certifying those exports of the agricultural products. But you have seen also people carrying matoke when they're going to Dubai. So it is important also that Maif comes to this other side of the passengers to ensure that what is being taken out is equally certified. Okay. Yes.
What's your relationship as the regulator and Uganda Airlines? I just want to see how you work with them. Of course, you as the regulator and the host of all these. How do you relate with Uganda Airlines vis-a-vis these others, Air Arabia, Qatar Airlines, ET, how do you relate with them?
We have had a very good relationship with Uganda Airlines, being that it's a national airline. Because all the way during those plans when we are trying to revive the Uganda Airlines, we were in the meeting to try to help them get certification. When you come at the airport, we have given them office space where they are working. Even the new modification building, we have provided them a full floor where they can work from. So we are in touch with Uganda Airlines, just like any other airline, because when it comes to the aviation certification standards, we treat airlines all the same. But because this one is a national airline, of course, we have to give it more facilitation. Even when we had the lockdown, we are talking about a reduced number of flights, but we ensure that Uganda Airlines has got a number of flights because they were starting their business. Okay. So we have really supported them as a regulator and also to support their businesses. Okay. Yes.
The COVID protocols have also greatly impacted on delays and stuff like that, and these issues have actually been there. How have you addressed them? Because these are standards that people need to go through. Yes. And they're also now wasting some people's time because, with air travels, there is no chance to actually delay or do anything. Every delay is very costly. How have you addressed those COVID protocols that are seemingly also causing inconveniences to travelers?
Okay. You see, we are always encouraging our passengers to come early to the airport because you are going to go through a lot of processes, security, then you go through our health checks, So if you come, for example, if you're going to Dubai, you're supposed to have 2 negative PCR, one which is 48 hours and one which is 6 hours. Now, should your flight be at around 2 and you come to the airport, some people normally take their tests from the airport at the beach there, and you come at around 1 to take your test. By the time your test will be out, the gates will be closed. So we are encouraging passengers to come early enough to the airport, maybe like 2 hours. Give yourself 2 hours because of the jam. Assuming now, I want to give you an example. Somebody came late, found a long queue of cars, came out of the vehicle, started running. Why panic? So give yourself enough time, ample time, come to the airport. Even the earlier you come and you find no people at the port health, please present your PCR certificate for verification and have a seat in the waiting lobby. When your time of check-in comes, you just move into the check-in hall and then...
So mitigating the protocols is a discipline on the part of travelers to try as much as they can to come early. To come early. To avoid any inconveniences.
Yes.
Because nothing's going to be waived. There will be no waiver for your PCR test because you're late. Yeah. That won't happen.
We had those problems before. You had of passengers that were complaining that they were left on Emirates because they took their test late. Because the PCR test, the minimum it can take is a 1 hour. Now, if the boarding gates are closed, even if you come with your PCR tests, we will not accept you. Why? Because we have closed. So, if you came early, the better for you. Now, our arrivals, we were holding passengers in the new modification building. So you first get your results, then you proceed to your next destination. However, passengers complained that we were making them stay at the airport for a long period of time. So what we did now is that you come in. First of all, before you travel to Uganda, we request you to register online. And that is http://arrivals.healthdesk.gio.ug. After filling in that form online, then you go to another form for you to pay for your COVID test on arrival, which is covidpay.postbank.co.ug. Now, once you are filled in online, by the time you arrive at Entebbe International Airport, it becomes seamless for you to go through the process. You just go.
And you're telling people to do these things?
Yes, we tell the airline. We have communicated to the airline. We have put a notam, and also, of course, the airline, they use the thematic to communicate to all those that are trying to vend their tickets, but also a notam, notice to the airmen. So we have requested the airlines that they emphasize before you travel to Uganda, please make sure that you have registered online. However, if you fail to register online, even at arrival, you scan our QR code and you get the forms you fill, but there will be a delay for you in doing so. Then you get your swab. After getting your swab, we send you a message that we have received your details. You give us your email address and the WhatsApp number. Then you proceed to immigration, custom, and you go home. Within 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you have received your result. Now, what happens to the positives? We have, the Ministry of Health has got what we call a surveillance team. So once your results come out and you're positive, our surveillance team will follow up with such a passenger. Because
of your details?
Yes, they will follow up with such a passenger, and they counsel you, and they advise you on what you're to have for your medication and how to isolate yourself. Yes.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Tim. Finally, in less than a minute, your final comment for anything that you want to say about this before we get out of studios.
I want to confirm to our viewers that Entebbe International Airport, one, has never been sold to the Chinese.
It's Uganda's airport?
It is 100% a government asset, and Uganda Civil Aviation Authority is in charge of its operational budget, the escrow account. We are in charge of our budget, and it is approved by the ministry. of works and transport. So there should be no fear that the airport at one time will be sold to the Chinese, because the government has never lacked capacity or defaulted on the payment of that loan.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Otim Kenneth. He is a Principal Public Affairs Officer at the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Thank you so much for having allowed to join us on Good Morning Uganda Extra today, and of course for speaking to us about these very important issues, the China purported takeover of the international airport, and I didn't know his name is actually Mubiru, and Mr. Mubiru's sending a wedding on board, which is deplorable, and of course very regrettable to us and of course our national carrier. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka. We'll return tomorrow again. For God and my country, stay blessed. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.